I guess him and Red needed a vacation in Alola for a bit after the mountain situation. I guess we're talking about the mountain situation. Pokemon lore crazy, because I'm crazy for Pokemon lore. Let's go! Red is the main protagonist of Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, along with its remakes Fire Red and Leaf Green. He also makes appearances in Gold, Silver, and Crystal, its remakes Heart Gold and Soul Silver, Black 2 and White 2, Sun and Moon, their sequels Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. Basically, Red is a player character turned reoccurring character, similar to how Blue is. Speaking of Blue, they're rivals, as I mentioned in episode 2. This is one of the first things that's established in Pokemon Red and Blue, along with yours and Blue's name. You see, Red is supposed to be a blank slate for the player. He wasn't supposed to have a personality, so the player could project theirs into him. Though, if it isn't obvious enough, that isn't how it later went. But the intention was there. Red is set on his adventure to choose a starter from Professor Oak, his rival's grandfather. He's typically depicted with a Charmander or Charizard, however, he has also been depicted with a Bulbasaur numerous of times. He's also commonly depicted with a Pikachu, which would be the right starter for Pokemon Yellow. However, there's really no right answer, as his team drastically changes per each of his appearances. Small tangent about Pokemon Yellow. Red gets his Pikachu because he was supposed to have an Eevee for a starter from Professor Oak. However, Blue swiped this Eevee for himself, so instead, Red gets a Pikachu in that timeline. Pokemon Yellow was created to be more accurate to Ash's story in the anime, along with catch up with that popularity. Especially since Pokemon Red and Blue weren't intentionally created for an anime, and the anime strayed away from the original games. Pokemon Yellow was created to bridge that gap, basically. This only muddies the Pokemon timeline, but I will try and keep things straight where I can. The Pokemon timeline is not linear, honestly, and events constantly overlap each other, so sorry in advance. Back to our normal timeline, Red is back out on an adventure at the young age of 11. He starts battling all these gyms, gets gym badges, adds to Oak's Pokedex, and plans to become the champion. It really depends on the player's playstyle, but this is how the story is interpreted in later games, spin-offs, and Pokemon Origins, which, by the way, great miniseries, go watch it if you want some backstory on Red and Blue. During this time, Red constantly runs into Team Rocket. He goes as far as, get this, finding their hideout, battling their boss, and forcing them to flee. That's just the beginning. Red rescued a kind old man known in Lavender Town, known as Mr. Fuji, from being held hostage by Team Rocket. He even managed to free the ghost of a motherly Marowak during this, letting it reunite with its Cubone. Either way, the earlier events forces the remaining Team Rocket members to flee. Again! Of course, when it can only get worse, Giovanni and Team Rocket have overrun Saffron City, also known as the Heart of Kanto. They've also taken over Silphco in an attempt to get their hands on the first Master Ball, the first type of Pokeball device that guarantees a caught Pokemon. Alas, since this is Pokemon, Red beats Team Rocket again, the pattern repeats, Team Rocket flees, and Red continues on his journey. Red now officially has one gym leader left to battle. And, plot twist, if you haven't watched my other episode over Silver, Giovanni is the last gym leader that Red needs to battle. Giovanni runs the gym with the Earth Badge. Defeating him means Red can finally battle the Elite Four. Red, of course, wins this battle, and Giovanni officially disbands Team Rocket. I feel like it should also be noted that Giovanni tells Red that he plans to become a better trainer. However, this isn't really seen in later games or spin-offs. Just a funny note. Basically, Giovanni gets away with his crimes. After defeating all of the Elite Four, Red is moments away from becoming the champion. However, his rival stands in the way. Blue had already become the champion. He had technically beat Red. Until he didn't. Blue's victory did not last long to Red. Red beat his ass fair and square. So, coming with the dethroning of Blue, Red becomes the champion of Kanto. He is the champion that everyone remembers and everybody loves. After all, why wouldn't you like Red? At some point between Pokemon Red and Blue and Pokemon Gold and Silver, or any of their remakes, Red has traveled all the way up to Mount Silver. It's where he stays alone, training his Pokemon in a cave. Apparently, he had cut off all contact with everyone, including his mother. It's also at this point in canon where Red is established to at least be selectively mute in some way, only quote-unquote speaking in ellipses. However, now I'd like to mention that it's never been canonically stated how long he's been on this mountain. The time skip between red and blue and gold and silver is stated to be 3 years. However, it's never mentioned if red's been on the mountain for that whole time skip of 3 years. Some people theorize that it was only a few months that red had been up on Mount Silver, and some people theorize it was the full time skip. Either way, red disappeared from the public eye. This causes Lance to become the champion in Red's place, and a lot of other rearrangements that happen in Gold and Silver. Speaking of Johto, the protagonist of Gold and Silver, or Heart Gold and Soul Silver, adventures to this mountain to battle Red themselves. This protagonist can either be Ethan, Chris, or Lyra. After becoming the champion of Johto, they adventure up to Mount Silver to battle Red. And, shocker, when they win the battle, Red disappears. That's it! Red's face is not seen again until Black 2 and White 2, where he enters the Pokemon World Tournament. And at some point between this and Pokemon Sun and Moon, or Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, Red must have agreed with Blue to join him and run the battle tree together. Get this, at some point, Blue had to convince Red to join him for basically a vacation in Alola. It's funnier when Blue does all the talking, too. After all this time, Red had pretty much cut everybody out, so why not make up for some lost time by going with your rival and running some cool competition on some islands together? Typically, I don't bring fandom shenanigans into my lore videos, however, I believe this is just too funny to leave out. Not to mention that this is a very common depiction. While I call this a vacation to Alola, part of the fandom also calls this a honeymoon to Alola, and they joke that Blue and Red are boyfriends, engaged, or even married. In some people's eyes, after years of rivalry, they finally came to peace to run the battle tree as a couple. Honestly, I find it really adorable. Hopefully that explains some fandom stuff too. Either way, Red is a really fascinating character. He was made to be a blank slate, and in the end, his character ended up being a bit more. He's renowned, he's popular, slightly mysterious, now way beyond what he was designed to be. Perhaps a little overhyped, but that's what happens, I guess. I mean, after abolishing an evil team and becoming the first long-term champion of Kanto, the hype is somewhat deserved. That's all I have today. This has been another episode of Pokemon Lore Crazy. Feel free to like, subscribe, or consider leaving a comment, and stick around for a bit. I'll see you again soon.